you, Jessica.
Oh, wow. Very good.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Yolanda Patterson, and I am the president of UTEP Black Alumni. And I'd like to welcome everyone that joined in with us today. This is going to be a casual event. This is kind of UBand's first virtual event open up to everyone. So we really appreciate you all joining us. We hope that you will be joining us for many more events that we're going to probably be sponsoring something every month or every other month. We actually have a Black art auctioneers. I believe it's going to be next month, but we haven't advertised it yet. And the proceeds from that part of it is going to be going to the Dr. Daly Student Fund. Dr. Daly was the professor of African American Studies before Dr. Michael Williams came on board. And so Dr. Daly had wanted to start a student fund to help the students with classes, books, trip back home, whatever. So we're asking anyone that may be even interested in donating to that particular student fund to help out students, we'd really appreciate it. Also, before we start, I'd like to also just mention there are quite a few UTEP graduates or alumni on here. So we're asking if you haven't already registered with Minor Link, it is a free link. You can also, if you have your own business, you can advertise that on Minor Link, and everyone all over the United States will see that, see your business, and you'll be able to communicate and possibly find old friends. And if you're interested in joining UBand, you can also do that through Minor Link. So as I said, this is going to be a casual event. If you have questions, you can do an electronic raise your hand, and Darron will take your questions. So I'm going to introduce Darron. He's one of my classmates when I first got to UTEP. Darron was one of my buddies, one of my best friends. He's not my husband, even though his last name is Patterson. But anyway, Darron is a native of Mobile, Alabama. And he is a direct descendant of the last Africans to be illegally enslaved in America. As I said, he is an alumni of UTEP. He majored in mass communications. He was on UTEP's KTAP station. He pledged Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity while at UTEP.
06.
Darron is a 4-time Associated Press and Alabama Press Association award winner for Best Story of the Year. Darron was also the first American to cover NASCAR and IndyCar racing circuit. He also served as Director of Communications in Detroit. He did 3 years, I believe, is that correct?
Yep.
With the United States Sports Academy.
Yep.
So Darron has a lot of first time being the first Black for a lot of different things in his life career. And so we're happy for that. It's just great to have one of our own doing our very first virtual event. So Darron, it's on you now. Thank you, Darron, for being here.
Thank you, Yo. You know, this is really special because, you know, all of you, a lot of you had a lot to do with my life early on. You, Don Williams, I'll never forget you. George, you know, people like that, Dante, Yolanda. I mean, it was just a special time. And the one thing I was thinking about the other day, when I was at UTEP, I had no clue what I was going to do in life. I really didn't. And that just tells you that, and it goes to show you how God can just move when you don't expect it. We don't know what his plan is. I've grown so much since I've been there, Don. I've grown a lot, man. Spiritually, grown a lot spiritually. It's a good thing when you can mature, you know, when you're not running around. Just so you know, I will never forget that when I was pledging Alpha, we were not supposed to talk to girls one day.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And I was on the remote part of campus, really remote part of campus, with my head stuck in a woman's window of her car. And who drives by but Don Williams? In the remotest part of campus that you can be. You couldn't have even, there's no way in the world he was even supposed to be there. And needless to say, that night, you know, it was interesting when he told my line brothers, he said, little brothers, we have somebody who couldn't follow directions. Don, I think of that a lot, Don, even today, you know, and when I'm doing something that I'm not following directions on, Don Williams, I think of you, man. It's crazy. It's really crazy, but God has been good, and so much has happened since I left UTEP, and I can only you know credit the people there and John Cicados, people like that who meant a lot to me and brought me to where I was. I didn't ever think of all these firsts Yolanda was talking about. It just always happened that way. And then the thing about it is, I didn't even know who I was at UTEP. I had no idea about my African heritage because you have to realize that when the last illegal slave ship docked in Alabama, in America, uh, importing Africans had been illegal for 50 years. And the penalty for bringing more Africans to America was death. So my family didn't talk about who I was. But you know, I always knew something was different. I was always out front. I never tried to be out front, but I was always out front. And so now I know that when I looked up and started finding out about my heritage and my great great grandfather, I found out more about why I'm the way I am, why things are just instilled in me. I can remember being on a jury in Detroit, and we hadn't even done anything except introduced ourselves. And they looked at me and they said, "You're the jury foreman." Well, the last thing you want to be is a jury foreman on a murder trial in Detroit, because all the guys' family is out there, all his partners, and I'm like, and they said, "Are you the foreman?" When we had to give the verdict, they said, "Jury foreman, stand up and give your name." I said, "Yeah, my name is," you know, I don't want nobody in this audience to know my name at this trial. But that's just one of the things that always stood out for me, being out front. And when I found out about my family who was on that ship, it was just unreal. So I've set some things up that I wanted to show you, you guys. And Jessica, as my technical advisor here, Jessica is going to make sure that some of the things that I've thought about Clotilda, I wanted to share before we start just talking about things. Because see, I think now this is all very important. What's happening now with people finding out who they are, people finding out their heritage. This is a point of reckoning, I believe, right now in the world, not just America. People who've been oppressed for years are saying, you know, we're tired of that. No more of that. Okay. We are not taking this anymore. And these are people in Brazil and people in Australia and England. Any place people have been oppressed, they're tired now. And so the people who are trying to hang on by their fingernails for the last vestiges of racism and oppression in this country are finding out that it's going to be some really tough going as we go forward. And their ancestors, the racists, the oppressors, their younger generations now are saying, "Granddaddy, were you a racist back in the day? Did you use water hoses?" You know, because I have this little friend, Darron, he's black and he seems like he's okay. So what is this racism thing about? You know, I've been fortunate to have written and done a lot of writing, newspapers, journals, magazines, and I always advocate that racism should be taught in schools. Yeah. So we should know its origin because it's not going anywhere. This country, racism is interwoven into the very fabric of this country. We built, Black people, we built this country.
Yes.
People of color built this country. And to now have people who want to sanitize America's history, history is what it is. Now, you can be proud of it, or you can be sad about it, or you can learn from it. And what we need to do is figure out a way to make sure that we learn from it. When the Clotilda was first found, people said, you know, you guys need to organize yourselves, because right now, I guarantee you, things are coming at us fast and hard, with us having been the last descendants of the last load of Africans. And think about it. When you think about it, there were 12 million Africans spirited from their homes, spirited from the country they love, all because people in the South, people in Brazil needed some cheap labor to further their economic goals. And when you think about it, I mean, if you just think about it, I've thought about it so much. Sometimes when I'm talking to people about Clotilda, I just have to stop and think. Jessica, I don't know if you got that slide that I sent you on the slave ship Clotilda, but if you do, I'd really like for you to share it with the group. National Geographic sent us this. They commissioned a artist to do this rendering of Clotilda, and I don't know if it's a cutaway, but the size of the cargo hold on Clotilda was roughly 5 by 20. You know, we got living rooms that most of you have that are bigger than the cargo hold that Clotilda was there. And this voyage that my ancestors were on took 2 months. 2 months across the Atlantic in a cargo hold the size of a living room. They were butt naked because they took all of their clothes, because it didn't make any sense to have clothes when they'd have to be washed. So they treated them a cut above a dog. They probably would have treated dogs better. To think about it, you had to eat where you defecated. You had to sleep where you defecated. Young girls, these were all young people because they didn't want any old people, you know, they wouldn't have done them any good. These were teenagers. And to do that and treat people that way, it really gives you a sense of how can somebody do another human being this way, regardless of color. So I want to tell you about Clotilda because, I mean, the story of the Clotilda, because the one thing about Clotilda is that it is so well documented because the captain, William Foster, he documented everything. He had a journal that you can access it online. We have archives here in Mobile. But William Foster documented everything about Clotilda. And that's what makes this journey so important. 60 Minutes came down in last year, and they ran the story in November. And I actually stood there, and when we were doing this thing, and Anderson Cooper was talking about it, and he actually started crying, man, because he was talking about how could one human being do this? And this was 161 years ago, 161 years. And today we still have people who want to do other human beings this way. This can't, I get very upset when I get very upset at racists trying to hold on to the the theme and the idea that because you're a certain color, you're better than somebody else, or because you're a certain color, you're less of a person than somebody else. So for me, it's a personal mission these days to make sure that we understand as people of color that we need to know who we are. When I found out you better be glad I didn't know I was a Yoruban warrior at UTEP. Man, I'd have been running around the campus and no telling what I'd have been doing, spears and all kinds of stuff. And there's no telling, you know? Now I find out that I'm this Yoruban prince, right? I'm like, man, this is good stuff, okay? Because my tribe, the Yorubans, were very bright people. They were farmers. They were all kinds. They could do all kinds of things. And one of the things that actually helped when they got here to cultivate the southern cotton crop was that they actually taught the enslavers how to produce a better crop of cotton. Unreal, absolutely unreal. Ben Rains's picture, Jessica, please. There had been stories about Clotilda in the South forever, for a long time, but nobody ever looked for the ship because, like I said, it was illegal. And there is no statute of limitations on certain crimes. Now, the reason nobody really tried to find Clotilda was because the enslavers, the Mayer family, who still won't talk to us today, they were afraid that we could probably do something with their money. They're very wealthy, and go after some of their estate. But Ben Rains, who also worked at the Press Register, he's a journalist, he's an environmentalist, and he's also a very accomplished guide. He found the ship. And after he found the ship, then all kinds of things started happening. The next slide is Jim Delgado. Jim Delgado works for a company called Search Incorporated. They go all over the world finding shipwrecks. They've done the Titanic. They've done all kinds of things. Once Ben Rains identified what he thought was Clotilda, they commissioned Jim Delgado. National Geographic did. And Jim Delgado came in and actually verified that Clotilda was Clotilda by the wood that the ship was made of, the bolts, the nails that were holding it together. Jim Delgado has become one of my better friends. He and his group of people. And when Delgado really made sure that it was Clotilda, man, all hell broke loose. This is Jim Delgado. All hell broke loose because now it no longer was a myth. Clotilda actually existed. And there actually were people in Alabama and throughout this country who were descendants of Clotilda. And once we knew that the ship had hit, all kinds of things started happening. Common, the rapper and the actor, has already bought the rights to the book Barracoon. Barracoon is basically a jail where you keep people hostage. Well, the tribe that enslaved my people and put them in a barracoon, the Dahomies, they're the ones who actually sold the last group of Africans to the enslavers here in America. Now look, you can stop me at any time, okay? Because I do this all the time. I do it so much, I know it in my sleep. I've learned this thing so well about the story and the history of Clotilda and what these people went through and what they endured to be able to survive. That's the big thing. That is the actual story. How they went through this 2-month voyage, butt naked, on deck only 1 day a week so their muscles wouldn't atrophy. Then they get here, they're enslaved for 5 years, and then they're emancipated, okay? And then they say, okay, give us a boat so we can go back home. And even though they weren't sailors, my money was on them. They would have made it home. They would have made it home. I guarantee you those Africans would have made it home, 110 of them. They said, no, we're not giving you a boat. They said, okay, well, give us some land since we've got to stay here, and we'll just stay here. They said, no, not giving you any land. So they said, well, can we work for you and make money? They said, oh, sure. So they actually went to work for the enslavers, saved their money, bought land in what's now Africatown. It's a part of Mobile. It's actually where I grew up. And they survived. That is the telling thing about it. When I see these young men, I was talking to a guy one day and he says, Miss Patterson, do you know where I can get a job? And he was holding up his pants with one hand and talking to me with the other. And I told him, I know where several jobs are, but you need 2 hands to do them. You can't do them with one hand. You got to understand that we are proud people. Black people, man, I'm so proud to be a black man. I don't know what to do. I'm telling you, Don, if I'd known what I know now, I've been running around the campus, man, just spears and all kinds of stuff, man. I would have loved. You did not want me to be at UTEP knowing what I know now. I am extremely dangerous to know the things that I know and to have matured the way I've matured and to have spiritually come to where I am. Now I understand life. Life. I'm at UTEP, we're all trying to figure things out. But now I understand what this is about. So my goal is to make sure that this story continues to be told. The International African American Museum in Charleston is opening at the end of this year or maybe 2022, very early. Our museum, our temporary museum here in Mobile will be open later this year. We've partnered with the International American Museum in Charleston because they were ports of entry, as was Savannah. I have a gentleman in Maine who's a shipbuilder who wants to build a replica of Clotilda and bring it down the coast, stopping in Charleston and Savannah, on around Florida, and up the Mobile Bay into Mobile. We're already making plans to bring Amistad here, the replica, in February for Black History Month, and start teaching the young kids here in some of the high schools how to sail, how to ship build. We want to turn this thing into the positive so that we can get our kids on a path that they can do some things that will make sense to them. You can't save everybody. I realize that. I was trying to mentor some kids once, and the kid I was mentoring, I told him all these things, and good thing kid went out and robbed somebody that night. I'm like, wait a minute. They said, Darron, you can't save everybody. I was hurt, man, because I think I can save everybody. And it's just not true. It's not true. You got to be realistic. I know from the guys on here that I know, I keep saying this, but I have a special relationship, for many of you who don't know, with Don Williams and Harold Lockett and George Ellis, Dante. These guys have been in my head for years because they did things and put me on a path that I've never really strayed from because of who they are and the guys that they are. And I'll never forget that. I give them a lot of credit for where I am and what I'm doing. And when I realized that my family background is what it is, it's it's just through the roof. We have to make sure that our young people, and we can't give up on them. Jessica, you've got another slide I'd like to show some people. If you would pull up number 6, I'd like to show the people this gentleman.
Can you tell me, I'm sorry, what is the title of the?
Number 6, Poli.
Got it.
I have ad nauseum gone to great lengths to find out as much as I could about this man, because this is my great-great-grandfather. Now, this picture was taken circa 1880, because he was one of those young Africans on that ship. But when I found out that Poli was a carpenter, a beekeeper, a solver of people's problems, I'm like, okay, that's it. I now know what this is all about. You know, this is why the guy said, you are the doggone jury foreman on a murder trial? No, dog, no, thank you. You can keep that, okay? This man and his colleagues, Osa Kibi and Cudjoe Lewis, were 3 of the leaders of Africatown. You know, even back then, you know, there were issues, problems, okay? And somebody had to be a judge. Somebody had to keep order. Poli, Osa Kibi, Cudjoe Lewis, those guys were charged with keeping order in Africatown to keep everything civil. And I'm just as proud as I can be to know this man, know of this man. We have some things going on now in Mobile that I have to, as I'm the president of the Descendants Association, so I'm very, very aware of things that are happening. I live in the Old South. Enough said. There are people who still want the Old South to be the Old South. And there are people right now who got rich on the backs of my ancestors that are planning on getting rich now that the Clotilda has been found, and this place is about to explode with tourism. Montgomery, Alabama. Nobody would have ever thought that Montgomery, Alabama would have been a tourist destination. But if you never go anyplace else, you must see the lynching memorial in Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery has become a tourist destination for people coming to see what Brian Stevenson has done. I hope a lot of you saw his movie, but he is a person with a vision. The Equal Justice Initiative and the lynching memorial, and hey, Miss Williams, hey. And what he's done in Montgomery has made Montgomery a tourist destination. You can't step off a curb in Montgomery without getting hit by a tour bus. And if you need to call it up online, it's the lynching memorial. It will just, people, when I stand there and just watch people, they just stand there and look and say, how could one human being have treated other human beings this way? I mean, it's just, it's unreal. To tell you the truth about it, you know, I could go on forever. I really could. But if you have something you'd like to say or like to specifically ask, you know, please do. Because I don't just want to be a talking head and just, you know, just be here talking forever. But just so you know, I'm very proud. I'm very proud to be who I am. I'm very proud to be a UTEP alum. I'm very proud of my friends. I see Judy online, you know, her and people like Yolanda. They meant a lot. They meant a lot. I didn't know how much they meant until later. You know, that's usually how it works, isn't it? You know, I have a guy who, friend of mine, Jose Grignon, We were at KTSM together, and now he's an anchor in Houston. I haven't seen Jose in 35, 40 years. And he called me the other day. This shows the Goya. When people are in your life that mean something, you never forget them. Jose called me the other day and said, hey, just want to talk to you. I'm like, okay, talk. And we talked about things that were important in his life. And he told me why he called me. He called me because at the time that we met each other, it was a time in both of our lives that meant something. People on this call, I don't even know. You and I have a connection simply because of that little man with the pickaxe. Is he still the mascot? Have they gotten rid of the man?
Yes.
Yes. Jesus, there's got to be something they can do. Dr. Williams, can you do something about the man with the pickaxe? Okay. God, that's the most embarrassing mascot ever.
Mr. Patterson, can you expand on why that's embarrassing? I'm uninformed.
Oh, it's just a little man with a pickaxe. Who the hell is that? You know, give me a tiger or a wolf okay, somebody with a gun. You know what I mean? Man with a pickaxe. That's all, Jessica. I mean, you know.
It's called a minor. It's called a minor.
Yeah, it's called a minor, you know.
Okay.
You know, I can remember, you know, his pictures there. I can remember, you know, we didn't have a very good football team when I was there. Still ain't all that great. I still remember. I keep up with it. I do things. I follow this thing, okay? But I can remember.
Support us.
I can remember sitting in the Sun Bowl one night, me, and I was the only person in the Sun Bowl. It was 5 degrees, and we were about to win a game playing the University of Pacific. And I think it was like a minute or something left, and they kicked the ball to a guy named Willard Harrell. I'll never forget him. He went on to play for Green Bay, and the guy ran it all the way back. You know, and that was the epitome of what UTEP football was about. But I wouldn't have traded being there where I started for anything. I wouldn't have traded you folks that I know for anything. And I'm just proud to be able to. When Yolanda asked me to do this, man, I was jumping up and down and running around and put it on Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to, you know. And it's a thing. It's a very proud thing to be able to say this. And now, yes, I will become a member of U-Band, and yes, I will be there in October, Yolanda, for homecoming.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure Dante hears this. He probably can't say anything, but I'm sure he hears this. So I, like I said, I could go on, but I don't want to. I don't want to dominate the thing, even though I'm supposed to dominate it, I guess. But I'd just like to know what you think about where we are. I believe this is a reckoning period in the world. And I think we have a responsibility to make sure that people who have been oppressed understand that, you know, it's time out now. You know, we lost a lot of people back in the civil rights movement. We've lost some people in the last few years. We're going to lose some more people. But we cannot let the disease of racism engulf us. On our website, theclotildastory.com, I made sure that our mission statement is very prominent. Our mission statement is to never, ever let the world forget about those 110 people in the cargo hold of that ship. Never. Ever. Is that you? Okay. Right now, Africatown is not, there's a question about how many people live in Africatown. There's not as many. When I was growing up, it was about 6,000 people. And it's really gone downhill, like many Black communities in urban areas. You know, in any urban area you go to, there's always an across the track or in the bottom. You know, it's where the Black folks are. And that's the other thing now that's really fun because, man, the city's hopping around. I went out to dinner the other night with the guy who is the president of Visit Mobile. And I mean, they're courting me like, because I got this group of people now that they need. You know, Africatown isn't new. They knew about it. They've always known about Africatown. But all of a sudden, hey, Darron, my phone is ringing. Hey, Darron, can you do this? Darron, can you come here? Can you get some of your people to do this? Yeah, we can do it. So we have an intellectual property attorney. Matter of fact, it's Kenny Stabler's daughter. Kenny Stabler, for a lot of you people don't know, he was big time quarterback in the NFL, Snake. But he's from this area. And she's our intellectual property attorney. And we're not about to be stupid about this stuff. We're going to get paid. We're not going to be doing a lot of stuff for free anymore. And we just got to be smart. I see a question about Pensacola. We found the connection to Pensacola. Pensacola is 60 miles away. If you don't know where Mobile is, if you look on the map, we're between Pensacola and New Orleans. It goes Pensacola, Mobile, Gulfport, Biloxi, and then New Orleans. The Gulf Coast. We are Hurricane Alley, man. Hurricane season will be here another few months. And, you know, if you live in Mobile, you got to have boots. And it's good to have a truck or something big because you're going to have bad weather. It rains here more than any country, any city in America, including Seattle. I thought that was interesting. I thought Seattle was the rainiest place, but there is a Pensacola connection. I've had Clotilda Descendants call me from as far away as Shanghai. Guy called me and says, "Hey, I'm calling from Shanghai." I'm like, "Shanghai? Was that up near Birmingham?" No, the Shanghai. Okay. We have Clotilda Descendants who are biracial. We have Clotilda Descendants who are doing quite well in some things that they do. I was talking the other day to somebody about the economic impact. You know, when Black people started doing well, what did they do? Burn them down, burnt Tulsa down, burnt Greenwood, you know. But I really wish that, you know, economically we could do things to have a bigger voice. But, you know, right now, I don't really think it may matter that much because what people are trying to do, we're not going to let happen. We're not going to stand for what's happening in Georgia. You are not going to suppress the vote. There is no way in the world we're going to let that happen now. And what's happening is, you know, my son, he tells me, he says, "Yeah, Pop, if I had been on that ship, I wouldn't have stood for that." And I told him, you would have been a dead human being. Okay? They would have thrown you overboard. I understand their anger, but they need to channel it in a different direction and use their brains, you know, use their brains. And we got to do it. It's up to us. I tell my men's ministry group, what we do in here on Saturday mornings is no good unless we go outside and use it to help other people and to better other people. It doesn't do us any good to know about the story of the Good Samaritan or know about how bright Jesus was. You know, he's an intelligent God. You know, it doesn't do us any good if we don't go out. And you also have to have a spirit of discernment because you have to know who to talk to and who not to talk to. I passed this house the other day, pretty well known crack house down in this other part of town. People standing outside, women standing outside selling themselves. And I thought about it. I said, you know, I should stop and just talk to these young brothers. And this little bird on my shoulder told me, "Man, if you don't keep driving, you know, now it's not the time to talk to them. They probably don't want to hear you." So you have to have some spirit of discernment through all this. But we got to help our folks, man. We gotta help our folks. And that's part of the thing that we want to do with Clotilda and what's surrounding Clotilda and all the things that Clotilda is about. And I'm just proud of y'all, proud of me, proud of my family. Just a proud guy. So
Yeah, I have a question there, Darron.
go for it, Harold.
Yeah, what about reparations? Is there any talk
Big
about
R
that?
word. Okay, all right. Okay. Remember what I told you about the reason the Mayer family? Give me that slide, if you will, Jessica, number 5, Timothy Mayer. Everybody's talking about reparations. We have a descendant in Atlanta he's an attorney. He wants to take this all the way to the Supreme Court and argue for reparations. But Harold, who gets paid, Harold? How much do I get? How much does my friend get, my fellow descendant? You know, for me, reparations would be something that benefited the community. I want to step down from the presidency of this organization next year and fundraise, because I want to have the Clotilda Permanent Museum and the adjacent Performing Arts Center. And that's going to cost $40 million. Okay. The lynching memorial that I'm telling you about in Montgomery, that thing was about $20 million. And we want to do that here, but Harold, I just don't know how you can determine who gets what. I put this man's slide up because this gentleman is named Timothy Mayer. He is the person who commissioned the Clotilda to go to Africa and bring back this load of Africans. Now, remember I told you that slavery had been abolished. Harold, I'll get back to it in just a minute. I won't forget you. Slavery had been abolished for 50 years. Enslaving Africans had been abolished for 50 years. Timothy Mayer was drunk one night, as the story goes, and made a bet with one of his rich friends that he could get a load of Africans into America right under the Fed's noses. So he commissioned his friend, William Foster. He's from Maine. Maine was a big area for shipbuilding then, still is, but it was a big area for shipbuilding. And then they came down here because of the trade between England and the slave trade with Africa, building these schooners, ocean-going schooners, fast ships. And Timothy Mayer is the reason that I'm even here, because he is the point man for enslaving Africans here. And he made this bet. They almost didn't make it because the Clotilda was almost caught twice by 2 British man of wars who were patrolling, because enslaving Africans was illegal. And they almost caught him. Now, I really want to show you this really good picture here, but let me answer Harold a little bit further. Again, we've reached out to the Mayer family. They're still here in Mobile, Harold. And because they're a part of the story. You know, I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at this guy, okay? They've done nothing to me. You know, I don't have any issues, but I've heard that there is an edict in their family that nobody talks about their family history, or they will be cut off financially. That's just what I heard. There's another thing you need to find called The Order of Myths. It's a movie made by a lady named Margaret Brown. Margaret's been following me around for 2 years, and our film will be coming out probably in the fall. And she wants to debut it at Sundance in Utah. And she also wants to take it to Cannes in France. She's already told us, you know, get our traveling clothes. I'm going wherever it is. I don't care where it is. I will be there when the film debuts. Okay. Anderson Cooper said that he will be there too. But Order of Myths is what was, Margaret did that film, and it was about the 2 separate Mardi Gras mystic associations. Mardi Gras didn't start in Mobile, in New Orleans, it started here in Mobile. And right now there is a Black Carnival Association and a White Carnival Association. I think New Orleans is segregated a little bit like that too. But Mayer is the guy who commissioned his friend William Foster to captain the boat to come here. Jessica, give me that slide of Gary, Mike, and me, please. Number 8. When 60 Minutes came down last year, they actually found a relative of the Clotilda boat captain, William Foster, and that's him in the middle. He is a really nice guy. His name is Mike Foster. So 60 Minutes flew him down here for the segment that they shot here in Mobile. And that gentleman on the left is Gary Lumbers. He is a relative of Cudjoe Lewis, who was the longest living enslaved African. He just died in, I think Cudjoe died in the 40s. I'm not sure. But he's Cudjoe Lewis's great grandson. Mike Foster is a distant cousin of William Foster. And then there's me. That picture was shot when we went up to the site of the Clotilda. That's really been hush hush because people have tried to destroy it even now so that there's no proof that it exists. So the state of Alabama has 24-hour surveillance on the site so that nobody can come up there and mess with the wreck. But we went up to the site, and the interesting thing about this picture was this was the first time in 160 years that a Lewis, a Foster, and an Allen, that's my family, the Allens, were on that same site. It had been 161 years, and we thought that was kind of cool to take that picture right there. Mike lives in Montana, and he's become my new best friend. Every 5 minutes, Mike is calling, want to know what's going on. So he's a good guy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's more to the story. There's a lot more, but you can go to the website, look at it. Look up Clotilda. If you look up Clotilda, you'll see everything. There's stories yin yang since they found the ship. I don't have anything else unless somebody.
Darron, there's one more question on here.
Is there?
From Mary.
We also have Kenneth has his hand up.
Kenneth has his hand up. Okay, cool. All right, Mary and Kenneth.
So you have 2.
Okay. All right, go.
I'll act with that to Mary unless she wants me to go.
Where is Mary? Hey, Dante's connecting
Here
again.
I am. Thank you. Yes. I'm sorry about my dog.
Get the dog. Get the dog. Get the dog. Okay.
My question is, what can we do to support, rebuild, assist in rebuilding with either the work of Africatown or promoting the history of it? I've been reading a lot about it. It is fascinating. There are descendants of the white slave masters, I understand, in the area who are very silent about.
Yeah, the Mayer family. Yeah.
Pardon me? Yes,
the Mayer
sir.
family. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But what can we do to assist in any rebuilding or promoting of this history?
Jessica, can you go to the internet and pull up theclotildastory.com and put it on the screen?
Yes, just give me a second.
Okay. Mary, we are going to have a group. I was thinking about forming this group, Friends of Descendants. I love it because, I used to be a big Friends of Distinction fan. And yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, love or let me be lonely. Yeah, and I'm going to do this Friends of the Descendants because I've got a lot of people like you who want to be a part of this thing. I mean, it's really rolling now. I mean, we are Michael Strahan's, some of his people called the other day, want to know what they can do. And I'm going to, tell you the same thing I told them as soon as Jessica gets the website up on the screen.
Darron, I just want to let you know I'm not able to find Clotilda.com, but I have a National Geographic website.
No, it's theclotildastory.com.
Okay. The
story.com. Let me know when you got it. Okay.
Got
Put it
it.
on the
Let
screen,
me-
please.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are a lot of people, Mary, who are coming forth now. Now, pull us down from the right-hand side, Jessica, the pictures there. Oh, no, it's all right. It's all right. Leave it just like it is. Go back to the front page. Okay.
Okay.
Mary, look down at the bottom. Do you see those links say featured story?
Yes,
Do
I
you see
do.
the one that says make a donation?
yes, I see that.
Hint, hint. Okay. All right. All right. Hint,
It's
hint.
so vague, I don't know if I.
Oh, yeah. It's a
Big
big one.
request.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I made him make it big. I said, you make that button as big. I started to put it up there on the whole thing.
Mhm. Very good.
But we want any support that you want to give us, anything you want to give us. I have a lady in Los Angeles that wants to do some things in terms of tapestries and all that stuff. Put that question back up again. I thought I saw a question. Did someone, Glenda or something? We have people that want to do all kinds of things, and we are open to everything. The Friends of the Descendants will be up and move and running very soon. Some I got to go to work on, as a matter of fact, today to get the structure down and try to get it out to some people who want to know more about it. And we want help from anybody. I'm about to start writing children's books. I had someone call me. I am so proud of this. I had someone call me from a private school in Mobile, predominantly white, and they want children's books that they want to start teaching about the story of Clotilda in the 4th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I'm like, what? Man, I'm just, this is good stuff. And the thing is that I want my kids, my sons, and their children, We don't ever want the world to forget that somebody treated human beings this way. And guess what? Guess who's got the last laugh? It's us. You thought, there's many times that there's a story that when they were enslaved, one of the ladies that lived in Timothy Mayer's house slapped a young African lady. And she ran outside, and there were a couple of guys, a couple of the descendants out there, a couple of the people on the ship who came over with her. They were working, they had some shovels and rakes, and they ran up in the house and ran this lady out of the house. Now, there's many times that we've heard that lady ran to Timothy Mayer and said, I don't know where you got this last batch of them from, but they're crazy. They're not like your regular go over there and sit down type people. So I've thought of it many times. I bet Timothy Mayer may have said himself many times, man, I should have left these people over there. These people here are not people to be messed with. And they survived and they prospered. And not only did they persevere, but they prospered. So back to your question, Mary, anything you want to do, Mary, fine with me. Give me an idea, I'll take it and I'll run with it. If you have an idea, if anybody has an idea for us, please let us know. There's a contact us page on the website that you can reach me, and that contact us page comes right to me. So if you're sending it there, I'll get it, okay? And the 800 number also rings somewhere in my vicinity. So
Darron,
yeah.
Mary was my roommate before I came to UTEP at Baldwin
Really?
Wallace College.
And you're from Paducah, right? You're from Paducah, aren't you?
I'm from Paducah, yes.
Yeah, every time, I was in Paducah, it's cold as hell in Paducah.
All right, don't talk about my town.
Yeah, I was trying to get out of Paducah. What was I doing up there? I was up there for something. And I'm like,
Not
man,
too much for sure.
it was like
Because I
10.
descended from people from Paducah, so leave her alone.
Sorry about the Paducah thing.
My roomie, you mess with me.
I stand corrected. I do not want to get into nothing with no people from Paducah.
We got a lot of New Burns back in
I
Paducah.
bet y'all got knives. I bet y'all carry knives and guns too, don't you?
No, we don't know.
I know you do, Joe. I know you carry a gun.
Of course not.
All right. So anyway, y'all, that's it for me.
Kenneth, you forgot Kenneth had a question, remember?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ken. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, not so much a question as to kind of close out. Mine is not so much on the what you presented, and I've always been impressed by that. But I just when I look at Darron and not only what we talked about earlier, but the similarities that we have. He's from Mobile. I'm from Birmingham. My parents, Tucson Tarrant, up in the upper part of Alabama, has similar type histories, but I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. And yeah, Darron's, all of us, we have so much. I followed in his footsteps.
We see you, Don.
I followed in his footsteps, and when I look at it, he mentioned Dante, which I can't remember Dante's name, but
Don Lewis.
Don Lewis,
the jazz man.
Yeah,
you cannot forget his name.
All I remember him as is Dante the Jazz Man.
Dante the Jazz Man.
Yeah, and incidentally though, but I just want to say that some of the things that Darron has had an influence, because we haven't been, after he left, we kind of lost touch. I went into the military to serve in the military and do some things there. And but when I think about it, I can recall those people like Stephen Hill and Dante and Darron, when I needed some guidance as a young underclassman. I remember one thing before Darron was leaving, he told me, he said, Ken, got to be creative. I don't care what it is, you've got to be creative. And that kind of stuck with me because it took me out of that mold of always just following. And he was kind of telling me, I don't want you to follow in Darron Patterson's footsteps. I want you to look at what I've done, make your own choices, make your own decisions about me. But whatever you do, be creative and leave a footprint that will make somebody else also want to do something creative. So I thank you for that. And I want you to know that I'm probably the only one that still has a recording of your last stage, your show on the radio. I recorded, so eventually get that. But I have the last one.
That's way cool. You gotta just put that on a jump drive and or send me an audio file or something. I look forward to that. But I want to say two things. Mary, the question you asked, her name is Matilda Creer. She was, we thought Cudjoe was the longest liver, but we found Matilda Creer in Selma.
In Selma.
Yeah, she's in Selma. The Creers are big in Selma. And just so you know, like Polly Allen, his African name was Coopoli. Cudjoe Lewis, can you give me that bust shot, Jessica, of Cudjoe, number 7? Cudjoe's name was Kazula.
Kazula, that's
yeah.
correct.
And
I remember that.
When they came here, the enslavers gave them their names. That's Cudjoe. His bust sits in front of the historic Union Baptist Church in Africatown, and it was the church that the Africans founded. Okay, he was the one that a lot of people remember, but he wasn't the only one. There's so many stories. We're going to start putting these together soon. I don't know what Common is going to do with his piece or when he's going to hit the screen, but our documentaries will be starting to come out this fall. There's one documentary that I'm prominently in that's going to be out in December. I want to tell you one thing though, Ken. It took me a while to understand that. And I was in Detroit when this was happening. There was a guy who was older guy. He was a writer. He told me, when I read things you write, I feel like I was there. Kenneth, that is something that I didn't put in me. That is something, I am very blessed to have the talent to get something from my mind out, down through my arms and out my fingers. It just happens. I never even thought about it. You know, it just happens. And one of the stories, I mean, the things that I've gone through, I remember covering hockey. I covered hockey in Detroit. I covered the Red Wings. And when my first hockey game, I went with them to St. Louis. They were playing the Blues, and the hotel we were staying in was new. So they had a hotel party that night for all the guests. So after I filed my story, I mean, I got sharp. I put on my Pierre Cardin. I was downstairs and I'm standing at the ice sculpture. And this little old white lady is standing in front of me with the long gloves up her arms and the rings over her gloves. I mean, it just dripped of money, right? And she's standing there eating from the ice sculpture, and I'm waiting for her to move. And she's finishing her shrimp, and she turns around and looks at me and puts her shrimp shells on my plate. Now, it takes a lot to understand people's mentality. She was an older lady, an older white lady. She probably thought, listen, Black people were never meant to be anything but slaves and servants. Never. That's why we were brought here. We were never meant to be as prosperous as we were in Tulsa. We were never meant to be as prosperous as we were. You know, people are still having, white people are still having shock, some white people, over Obama. You know, I am not taking orders from a Black man. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. And it's just the way it is. And when this lady put her shells on my plate, all a myriad of things started going through my head. Okay, what curse words do I say? No, don't do that. What do I do? Don't, just be calm. And I told her I don't work here. And that's gone on. I was at a PGA golf tournament waiting for the leaders to come in. And the guy says, hey, is Sadie still in the kitchen? I need to get some ice. I'm like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. NASCAR, man, I've always been the guy of color in the room. So I've had to learn a lot of stuff, man, a lot of patience. And I pray a lot. I pray now more than I did because my spirituality has changed and I realize who's running this show. And it ain't me. Because I had, man, I knew when I was out there doing the KTP thing, and yeah, my head was, you think Dante, is Dante on here? Okay. You think Dante's head was out there, man. Yeah, I knew who I was. And
you
Mr.
also said one other thing, and I'll close out, is you said that you were in handling your men's ministry.
Yes.
I just want you to know that I'm in charge of my ministry too. So it just continues. It just continues.
Let's talk.
Brother.
Let's talk. Just shoot me your number, Ken.
You
so
got
we
it.
Stay in touch, right?
You will.
You can shoot it through the website. Were you saying something, Jessica?
Yes, I was gonna say we are a little bit over time.
Oh.
Would it be okay to put up maybe a contact information for you in case folks have other questions?
Yeah, you can go to the website and reach me, or you can call me 251-604-0700.
Can you slow that down?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that Jessica can type it. Thank you.
Thank you.
251-604-0700.
Got it.
And you know, like me and Harold, we hit each other on Facebook and talk back and forth and stuff like that. And Judy, so I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. The Clotilda's website, we're on Facebook. We're all over the place. So I'm sorry, Jessica, I didn't mean to go.
No, of course not. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. We had just said an hour and it's reached that point. So if we want to just like close up, and also if anybody has any questions regarding UBAN or anything else, we can ask those now too.
All right, it's time to watch Loyola.
Can I have a word, Jessica, before we close out?
Yes, ma'am. I also, can I say, I would love to take a screenshot of everyone. If everyone's comfortable with that, let me know and we could take a screenshot for promotion.
Good, Harold.
But yeah, Yolanda, go ahead.
Good.
Okay, before we close out, Darron, we would just like to thank you for taking part in this and being our speaker for this special event. It was great that we could get our first event with a UTEP alumni. If you can provide Jessica with your address.
Yeah.
We have a special gift bag for you with
I know. That's what I'm talking about. Now we getting somewhere.
With UBAN and UTEP items in it, and we will mail that to you since we're not in person to present it to you. But we really appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you at homecoming.
I'll be there. I'll be there for homecoming. And if I can help y'all in any way, yo, just let me know. There's things, man. I've been blessed with things and people and all kind of stuff. So, you know, people just giving me things. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Let me help somebody else. So
Right.
yo, let's talk about it.
Oh, Yolanda,
Okay.
can you give us an update on homecoming and what's going to happen and all that?
I cannot today.
Okay,
I
before
think they're still kind of, you know, bouncing back and forth because of the COVID.
Background and let him.
Jessica, can you speak on that, please?
I won't get the mirror behind me.
And what is the date? What is the date for the homecoming weekend?
So the date is not completely finalized yet. So we do plan to have that out very soon, like very soon. Of course, it's going to be towards the end of September, early October. So please just plan for that time frame. We will release those dates specifically very soon. They just haven't been finalized. And yes, as Yolanda's saying, like the COVID stuff has been a factor in determining all of that. So please just be patient. We'll release those dates very soon.
Okay, and if anyone is interested in,
Hold on, yo.
okay.
Go ahead, Dante. Since you can't get online, say something.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I had to call Dante because he's been trying to get on ever since we've been on here, and the poor fella can't connect. So I thought I would call him so he wouldn't get left out. So Dante,
Thank you.
they can all hear
Show me
you.
some love. I appreciate it.
That's all right. They can all hear you, Dante, okay?
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Dante.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Bye. All right. I'll call you later.
Okay,
All right.
If we
I just
can
wanna,
take
I
if we
just
can
wanna,
a
Jessica,
screenshot. Sorry, Yolanda.
I just want to say that UBAN does have their monthly meeting tomorrow. If anyone is interested in joining our UBAN monthly meeting tomorrow, just hit me up and I'll send you the information.
Ooh, me.
Okay, I'll send you our Zoom information.
All right. What time?
Also in the chat, I did include the UBAN website. So if you all want more information on UBAN, please let us know and we can put you in that loop.
Okay.
Did you put up minor league on here, Jessica?
Let me put that up now.
It's at 7 o'clock your time, Darron. And it's
Oh,
a
cool.
1 hour meeting.
Oh, cool. Okay. Wait. Alabama plays that time. That's right.
That's all right. You can still
That's right.
watch it.
Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide. Okay.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
ready for the screenshot. If y'all feel
I
comfortable,
see you, Judy. Roll Tide, Judy.
maybe we can do picks up or you can just smile, whatever you all feel comfortable with. All right, I'm going to take it.
I see you, Todd.
Just a second.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, taking it now. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
all. And this was recorded, so we can archive it in some place. I'll speak with Yolanda and UBAN leadership on that, and we can figure that out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation,
minute.
whether you're a
Excellent.
UTEP alumni.
Dante finally got on. Dante, we about to leave, man.
Thank you,
And his
Jessica.
audio still ain't working. Okay.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, the Alumni Office, for your support.
Bye, y'all.
Please stay focused. We do post on Facebook our events that we sponsor. So we hope that you would join us again. Dr. Williams, do you need to say anything before we close on any of your events?
No, well, actually, we do have coming up on April 7th at 5:30 as a part of the History Department's Racial Justice Speaker Series, a conversation with famed author and scholar Dr. Mr. Ta-Nehisi Coates. And so I'll actually be sending that around too, as so people can sign up for that Zoom event as well.
Now, Williams, how are you able to sit that still that long? I thought that was a slide.
Very disciplined, sir. Very disciplined.
Jesus Christ. How does he do that? All
No,
right,
but I
Doc.
sent that to Miss White, and I hope so she can send that out to everyone. So you all should get that soon.
I'll see you in October, Doc.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you all. It's been fun. Have a
Thank
good
you.
Thank you. Great meeting.
day.
Thank you so
See you,
much.
Doc. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.